And then if you don't know how to be with the fear, you can't actually feel all the good stuff, the pleasurable stuff, the fun stuff, the confidence, the happiness, the joy of winning, because that fear is just kind of got its hooks in you. All right, this one says, the one thing that I notice in my game that comes up over and over is that I allow the swings of MTT poker to control my confidence. I'm a long-term winning player and work consistently to be better. I just never seem to stay confident regardless of my continual success. All right. Yeah, so this is a perfect example of why logic fails, because this player is a long-term winning player, right? And yet there's no confidence. There's no feeling of confidence despite all the evidence indicating it's like, I should be confident. I should feel confident because I'm a long-term winning player, right? That's the logic. That's the logic move. But what's actually happening when you're not feeling confident, right? You're probably feeling maybe some fear, probably mostly fear, maybe a little bit of sadness as well, but probably just primarily fear in those moments when you're not feeling confident. It's like, okay, that is what I need to actually let myself feel and be okay with it and not tell myself that I'm wrong for having this experience, right? If you're a long-term winning player and you see that you still lack confidence, the last thing you need to do is say, I should feel confident because I'm winning, right? Because that's what you've been doing this whole time, and yet here you are not feeling confident, right? So that's not the problem. You don't need more proof that your strategies are good. You don't need more evidence that you're a winning player, that you're good, right? You need to actually just let yourself feel the fear that comes up when you are playing or thinking about playing and be okay with that, right? And give yourself a good amount of time to just get friendly with that and stay with that. And I can guarantee underneath that there are more layers of self-appreciation of like, yeah, I've done all this work and I feel good about it. But if you can't address that first layer of fear and just be with it, you're never going to actually be able to feel the confidence that's underneath that first layer, right? So quite often fear just kind of goes on top of everything else. And then if you don't know how to be with the fear, you can't actually feel all the good stuff, the pleasurable stuff, the fun stuff, the confidence, the happiness, the joy of winning, because that fear is just kind of got its hooks in you. So stop trying to convince yourself that you should be confident because you're good at poker, and start just letting yourself feel scared and have it be no big deal, right? It's like, it's okay to feel this way. I'm a human being. This is the experience that I'm having, and all good, right? So I would start there and then go from there, right? Because yeah, confidence has nothing to do with your results. It has only anything to do with how you feel. Pavel says MTTs are tough in that regard. Yeah, we're almost always running way above or way below EV. So that's one of the things that I think is the huge trap in both directions, right? If you are not comfortable just feeling your feelings and not attaching meaning to it, right? If you always attach meaning and thought and logic to your emotions, right? So I feel sad because I lost. I feel confident because I won, right? That's the logic kind of creeping in to the experience of having emotions. If you actually keep doing that, then you're not just letting yourself have the clean experience of being exactly where you are. And this is what leads to people getting too confident when you're winning, right? Because there's no foundation of, I just feel what I feel. I'm not very present as I'm making my decisions. Therefore, I become very results oriented, right? When you're not present, when you're making your decisions, when you don't actually feel everything that's happening and you're just operating off of pure logic, when it goes well, you start to say, oh man, I'm so great. I'm the best player. I'm the best player in the whole world, right? Nobody can beat me. And that's definitely not true, right? You go way too high when you make decisions and it goes well when you weren't present. When you make decisions without that presence and they go poorly, you go all the way to the bottom. You're like, oh God, I suck. I'm so bad. I knew I should have done the other thing. Right. And you start to just go in that direction. And so what this process does of feeling the genuine experience that you're having, what this will do for you is it lets you just kind of stay level, because you know that you were kind of in a tough spot, you were under a lot of pressure, and you did your best, and that in itself is what feels good, right? So that's how you can kind of ride this ride of variance and MTTs without it making you go crazy. Is that you dedicate yourself to actually letting yourself have the emotional experience that you're having when you're having it, without attaching all the logic and stories on top of it. And I know it's going to be tough for a lot of you, because you've been trained literally your whole life, probably since you were very little, to do it this way. So give yourself some time, give yourself some grace on this, because it may not be like an instant, natural, easy thing for you to just get out of your head and start feeling what you're feeling everywhere else, because you just haven't been doing it for however long you've been alive. But I promise you that if you decide this is important and you really let yourself dedicate yourself to this practice of, no matter what happens, no matter how stressed I get, I want to always remember that I'm more than just a brain. I'm more than my thoughts. I have all of this too. If you keep at that, I promise you're going to start to experience yourself in a completely different way. You will feel much happier in your relationship with poker. You won't feel so up and down all the time, which is, I know it's huge playing MTTs, right? That this is really the only way to get everything that you want, assuming that you want to win more and be happy. If you just want to win more and you're okay being miserable, yeah, you can keep doing it the other way. But if you're sitting here with me, that's probably not what you're interested in, right? So, yeah. There's another one that says, yeah, if we resist what we do, it's actually focusing on the wrong thing. Well, this also doesn't let us move on. Yeah, great comment. Totally agree with that. It's not the best, it's not the smoothest thing to do, is to just keep harping on your mistakes and keep focusing on what you don't want, right? Focusing on what I do want is what is going to really help you make that big leap. So how do I want to feel, right? Instead of how do I not want to feel. So all of this work that I'm talking about here is letting you get familiar with and friendly with how do I want to feel, and then actually taking steps to move in that direction. So another question says, when I'm not confident, I am scared of seeing the cards hit on the board. When a bad card hits, it's like a confirmation of the fear I was feeling. Oh yeah. When I am confident or running good, I look at the board while the cards come unfazed and things go well. It's almost like I lose when I expect to lose and win when I expect to win. Do you have any thoughts on this feeling and tips to overcoming this fear when things are not going well? Great. So the first thing I'll just point out is that, like, this is so heavily built into the culture of logic, right? And the culture of society, that this phrase is so common, right? How do I overcome my fears? That in itself already shows that the fear is a problem, right? So what if it's not actually a problem that you're feeling fear? What if it's just a totally normal part of your experience, and it's just as welcome as any other experience, as happiness, as boredom, as quiet, as, you know, angry and sad? What if all of those were nothing that you had to overcome, but they're just a natural, essential part of you that happens all the time, right? And so that already should start to shift the experiences, that there's no problem here. The problem is not that you feel scared. The problem is that you're making yourself wrong for it, and you're getting in your head when the first experience of fear is happening in your body, right? And so, like I said, the mind reflects what the body feels. So if you're feeling very scared, nervous, lacking confidence when certain cards hit, well, you're just in a state of fear. And when you're not worried about any of this, you're not experiencing fear. So it sounds like you have a really easy time playing when you're not experiencing fear, and a pretty difficult time just allowing yourself to stay connected to yourself and stay feeling good when you are feeling fear. So first, just check in and say and see. It's like, oh, am I willing to just see fear as my friend, right? Not as my enemy, and not as something that needs to be overcome, but instead something that just needs to be welcome. Because your emotions, they don't want anything from you other than just your genuine attention for a little minute, right? To actually feel them. They don't want you to just attack them or to try and fix them or to try to make them go away. They just want to be felt. That's their function. They show up, they say, hey, I would like to be felt and acknowledged and given some attention in this moment. If you do that, you will just create more presence, flow. It will take you to a higher level of confidence and feeling good. If you don't, it will just bounce around and haunt you and continue to bug you and act out and build until you give it that attention. And for, some people, that's why people who are like they look very disciplined and they're very logical and they have like great willpower, right? And you never see them get upset. But if they're doing it from this place of stuffing the emotions down and not feeling them and using logic to kind of step around it every time, when the dam breaks, the day where it becomes too much is the day they just like do something insane. And everybody's like, yeah, I had no idea he was like that, right? But that's only because they let that energy, that tension just keep building, seeing fear, seeing emotions as the enemy, something to overcome instead of something to just feel and be with. So yeah, as Pavel says, easy on paper, way harder in practice. But I will say that if you really commit yourself to this and really decide that, like, yeah, this is what I most want, it gets a lot easier over time. And so, yeah, that first part, you are going to keep forgetting many times of like, oh, wow, I have a body too. Oh, wow, I'm actually feeling emotions. You'll forget this over and over and over. I still do. I've been doing this forever, right? And there are still moments where I still forget, oh, yeah, I was in my head a little bit. And I will do that a million times more, right? But it's not about preventing that. It's not about making sure I never get into my head again. It's about making that recognition time faster of like, oh, I noticed I just got into my head, and let's bring it back down and include the whole thing, right? If I improve my response time, if I'm the best in the world at my response time of recognizing that I'm getting in my head and not feeling my feelings, and then just feeling it, I'm pretty much just going to be one of the best performers in whatever field that I'm in, whether we're talking about poker, sports, music, business, doesn't matter, right? If you're the best at that, then you're just going to be one of the best at whatever you do, assuming that your level of knowledge and skill is up to par, right? But that is something that all of you can do, and it doesn't matter where you're at now. You can start to improve at that. This is a skill, right? You can start to improve and increase this skill immediately today, right? By just noticing more and more and making an intention, reminding yourself, how can I just keep bringing the awareness back down? How can I get more and more familiar with what I feel like when I'm in my head, so that when I'm in my head, I actually have a recognition that I'm in my head and I can kind of bring it back down. All right. There's a question about an exercise in my book, the yes breath. Sitting on the edge of the chair and moving. I'd like to see what it looks like. I'll send you a video. I don't want to like do my whole setup here and have it take up a bunch of time, but I'll post a video of it in the Discord channel of the breathing exercise that I wrote about in my book. And yeah, hopefully that will help. So, and if I somehow forget, please just tag me in the Discord and remind me, or if anybody wants to just tag me in the Discord right now to remind me to do that, I'll be happy to do that later. Okay, next question says, beyond the mind and feeling, there is a pure awareness. But how to get there and stay there is another question. So personally, I think that the concept of pure awareness to me really is just being in this place where everything feels easy, where I'm not trying to force anything to happen, where I am, yes, I'm having lots of experiences of thoughts in my mind, but they're coming naturally, right? To me, that's pure awareness too. Pure awareness to me doesn't mean that like my brain isn't doing anything. It just means that I just feel completely easy and content and calm and relaxed and ready for anything. And so when I'm ready for anything, then nothing is going to knock me off of being able to play my best game, right? And I think that there's this myth out there of like pure awareness. I know like people write about these experiences of just like total bliss, and I don't really experience it that way, because I think it's rather than just having it be like one big like aha, I figured out all of life. To me, it's like this constant journey that we're just never done. And even as you get more out of your head and feel more connected to your nervous system and your breath and your body and feel more at ease, there's always another level that you can, oh wow, and you keep going a little bit more, and then you have different insights, and then you feel even better, right? So to me, there's just no limit on how good we can feel in life, and how easy and connected our inner emotional experience can be. And so once you kind of get on board with that idea, life just becomes this big fun playground where no matter how you're feeling, whether you're feeling great or feeling kind of terrible, or no matter if great things are happening or tough things are happening, there's always the opening for you to grow. There's always the opening for you to stay aware of what's happening completely inside you. And I can't remember, I think it might have been Huberman, the science health tech podcast guy, who said, or maybe somebody else, but who said, there's all this talk about being present, but really, or it might have been Tim Urban, they said, but really like presence is just the experience of being completely comfortable with what's happening inside you and being completely comfortable with what's happening outside you at the same time, right? And so it doesn't mean that everything's always great. It doesn't mean that everything's always perfect. It just means that there's this ease, there's this comfort, there's this acceptance of everything that's happening. And so that's why I'm so irritated by people who preach this logic mindset of just be logical, and just, can you just see the logic in it, right? Because that immediately is showing that I'm unhappy, I'm not comfortable with what's happening either internally inside me or outside there, and so I'm going to try to like force myself to be happy about it, right? But that doesn't actually work. That doesn't actually make you genuinely comfortable with what's happening in here or out there. The only way that you get to that point is by feeling it. And the only way you get to feeling it is by feeling everything else, right? So you don't get to like just choose to feel one thing but not feel the other. It all comes from the same place. Emotions come from the same hose. You could call it, if it's like a water hose, it's all coming from the same thing. They're either on or they're off. And if they're on, you're going to feel it all. You're going to feel the discomfort, the comfort, the happiness, the sadness. You're going to feel all of it. And then that's going to let you feel the stuff that you're wanting to feel, that comfort, that ease, that happiness. Or if you don't, if there's some stuff that you choose not to feel, you're shutting yourself off from feeling all of it. And then you're never going to feel that ease. And no amount of telling yourself something is going to make you have any different or any better of an experience. So hope that helps. We got kind of like big picture there. So got a few more minutes. If anybody has one or two more questions, happy to answer it. Otherwise, you can hit me up. I'll be in the Discord. I'm just going to chill in the Preflop Academy Discord for pretty much forever. So because I like it. So you can always ask me any questions. Just tag me in the Discord channel anytime there. And then like I said, I write about this stuff every single day. So if you're somebody who wants something that just short, quick, easy that you can read and digest, take in, head on over to my website. Get on my email list, and it will be there for you each day. One more question. Do you meditate with specific technique? to put time to feel your feelings, or you go through with your day or before a specific occasion? So for me, I do meditate each day, but I also don't really think that it's like mandatory, right? That would be like me being logical if I was like me trying to impose my logic onto you. So I do like to meditate every day because it does kind of help me to feel more in me. But for each of you, I encourage you, if sitting still with your eyes closed doesn't help you to feel that, then maybe explore other things, right? So do what feels good to you, but always make sure that the goal of it is to feel more of what's happening in you rather than to just like check something off of a box. And as far as like how I go on with my day, feeling my feelings, it's been a long journey. I started doing these practices probably like 12, 13, maybe even 14 years ago. And so at the beginning, it was more of a concerted effort of like, oh, wow, okay, I need to, take a little time to feel my feelings here. But as you keep going, if you decide it's important to you, it will just kind of wire into your unconscious of this is just how I live my life, right? That's what I would love for all of you, is to kind of land in that place where it's like, wow, this is just how I live my life. I naturally and easily just feel all my emotions as they come. It's no big deal. I'm very connected to this, and I'm able to do this because I made it a priority, right? So you decide it's important, you start doing what needs to be done to kind of make this a regular practice. Eventually, you don't have to like set aside time or to specifically be like, okay, I need to feel my feelings now, because it's just a thing that you're doing in the background, like blinking or breathing. It's just something that your nervous system learns how to do, because that's kind of how you were born. You were wired to exist in this way. It's more of the natural state of being a human being. It's just something that got kind of conditioned out of all of us in modern day society. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Let's see. Pavel's helping me to sell stuff. So yeah, besides the book, I do have the course. Yeah, I have my book, Poker with Presence, you can find on Amazon. The course, I made a course called Presence and Profit, which I put all of my, when I started doing one-on-one coaching, I noticed that I was going through the same techniques and exercises with many, many people. So I just put all of the best, most powerful stuff that I had, and that I still use with my one-on-one clients today into a course. And it's all on a mobile app so that you can kind of access all of the exercises and videos and techniques at any time, even if you're like at the table. So yeah, that you can find on my website as well. It's just under the course tab, and you can read all about it. And if you want it, and if you're in Preflop Academy, hit me up. I'll give you a little discount on that, because I do appreciate all you guys kind of coming to spend time with me. So if you read about the course, you like it, send me a message, either email or on Discord. I'll set you up with a bit of a discount. Am I doing new podcasts in the future? Yeah, just as I come across new people that I want to have conversations with. I'm very proud of the podcast library I have. If you haven't found it yet, you can check it out. It's just called Poker with Presence. And yeah, I've got like almost 200 episodes. Most of them are just 5 minutes long, and they share one kind of really important tip that I think would be very valuable for you to take with you that day. So there's so many different ways that you can digest my content. If you want to read the emails, if you want to listen to the podcast, I've got some podcast interviews in there as well. Just lots of ways, because I feel very strongly about getting rid of the addiction to logic in the poker world. And I'm just gonna keep yelling about it until everybody's on my side. I'm just never gonna stop this. So thank you all for coming. I really appreciate the questions, appreciate your having your attention. I hope this helped to inspire, create some more openings in you. If you have any questions, hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be in the channel, and you know where to find me. So thank you all so much, everybody.